brothers and sisters. We'll proceed to the question answer session. And as I've repeatedly said to you on such occasions in the past, that questions can be asked by anyone. Likewise, answers too can be given by anyone, because there will be some questions to which I may not be able to give adequate answers. And if you find that at any time you have a better answer to a question than the one I have given, kindly don't hesitate in asking for the mic. Nothing will make me happier than to leave this beautiful auditorium having been enlightened by your knowledge, by your wisdom, by your experience. Now we'll proceed.
Dada, happy Makar Sankranti. On this auspicious day, could you please tell us your message for us?
On the Makar Sankrant, you know why is it called Makar Sankrant? Does anyone know why is it called Makar Sankrant? Truly speaking, the sun does not move. It is the earth that keeps on moving. It is the earth that keeps on rotating and revolving. But as it appears to us, we find the sun traveling. So far, the sun has traveled to the south. Every day, the sun, when it runs further to the south, from today, it will set out on its return journey. It will start moving to the north. Makar is only one sign of the zodiac. And from today, the sun is going to enter that sign of the zodiac. Therefore, it is called Makar Sankranti. But as was told you by our kind professor, Mohini, Dr. Mohini Khoth, that in Maharashtra, they celebrate it by distributing. Somebody gave me those sweets. They have been taken away. Doesn't matter. They distribute these sweets and they tell you, this is another shape. They ask you to eat this and speak sweetly. Speak sweetly. There could be no nobler teaching than this. Today we live in a world of hurry. Everybody is hurrying all the time. We are like squirrels in a cage, running all the time and yet going nowhere. We are where we are. In this age of hurry, it is so easy not to speak sweetly. So this day comes with a message, especially in the Maharashtra, speak sweetly to all. You have heard the name of that great prophet, the founder of Sikhism, Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak says in one of his songs that if you have learned to speak sweetly, you have learned much. When, after dropping this body, you will move on, the angel at the heaven world will ask you, have you learned to speak sweetly? And if you tell him, yes, I have learned to speak sweetly, he will not look into your account books. He'll say, you get in. You are welcome. Come to the heaven world. But if you tell him, sometimes I used to speak harshly, then he will say, wait, we'll look into your accounts and decide whether you deserve to enter the heaven world or otherwise. So learn to speak sweetly. Learn to speak sweetly. That is the message of the Makar Sankranti. In the Maharashtra, not everywhere. But when you learn to speak sweetly, you must speak sweetly wherever you go, not only in the Maharashtra. Even if you go outside the Maharashtra, you must carry this message. Thank you.
Dadaji, could you share with us your experiences with Sadhu T. L. Vaswani, your guru?
My experiences, if I were to start sharing, you will have to stay here all night and all day.
We have no problem with
And
that,
and
Dadaji.
and many days and many nights.
No problem with that.
But I'll tell you one incident from his life. One day we were moving on the roadside when Sadhu Vaswani saw a man taking with himself two goats. He told me to go and find out where is he carrying these goats. I went and asked the man, and the man said, I am carrying these two goats to the slaughterhouse. I will sell them there, and out of the money that I get, I will purchase provisions for my family. I came and reported to Sadhu Vaswani. And Sadhu Vaswani said, go and find out how much money does he want. And this man took advantage of the situation and quoted a very high price. In those days, goats were not that expensive. Now, of course, the prices of all materials and all creatures has gone up. So he asked for a very large amount. And there were some people standing there. They said, this man is cheating you. He is asking for a very large amount. But Sadhu Vaswani did not bargain with him. He took out all that amount and gave it to the man, got those two goats, and they used to be in the compound of the Sadhu Vaswani campus where he stayed. And Sadhu Vaswani said on that occasion words which I can never forget. He said, no price is too high to save a life. No price is too high to save a life. This man may be charging a very high price, but no price is too high to save a life. If only we could understand this truth, we will be blessed abundantly. Sadhu Vaswani was a savior of many dumb, defenseless creatures. He used to look into their eyes and he used to say to us, what do you see in their eyes? We said, we can see nothing, we only see the eyes. He said, I see the light of God radiating from these eyes.
Dada, can you tell us how satisfaction and peace of mind can be achieved?
If you want satisfaction and peace of mind, the easiest way, of course, if you can follow it, the easiest way is to believe firstly that whatever is happening according to the will of God. Whatever is happening according to the will of God. And God is our loving parent. God is my loving mother, my loving father, your loving mother, your loving father. No loving parent will let anything to happen which may harm me. Therefore, in whatever happens to me, there is a meaning of God's mercy. Apparently, outwardly, it may appear that I am passing through an experience of calamity, of misfortune, of adversity, of sickness. On the face of it, it appears that I am passing through a difficult experience. But if I have faith in the providence of God, if I have faith in the mercy of God, I will accept it as prasadam out of the holy hands of the Lord. And if I accept it as prasadam, I will not be disturbed at all. I will always be satisfied, always content, always at peace. This is the simplest way of remaining at peace. So many things that appear to me, that happen to me, and that appear to be calamities and adversities and sicknesses, they are calamities and adversities and sicknesses relating to the body. But we are not the bodies that we wear. Essentially, each one of us is a soul. Each one of us is an immortal soul. Very often, the pain of the body, it comes and polishes the soul. Therefore, there is good in everything that happens. If only I can trust in this, I will always be at peace. I will always be satisfied. I will always be smiling. I will always be happy. I will always feel grateful. Sadhu Vaswani himself, during the last 6 years of his life, he was bedridden. He used to get tremendous pain. There were twitches he used to get in his right leg. Suddenly he would get a twitch. But he would never cry. He would never shout. He would never complain. There used to be this one word on his lips all the time. Shukr, shukr. Shukr means gratitude to thee, O Lord. Gratitude to thee, O Lord. And he was always at peace. Yes.
It is the human tendency to look towards God only at the time of crisis. Why is it so?
That you must ask yourself, because you are a human being. Because when we are passing through a difficult experience, we need to hold on to something. We need to clutch. And when we find that no one else is prepared to help us, we turn to God. In the beginning, man turns to God only for selfish purposes. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Shri Krishna says, speaking unto his dear devoted disciple Arjuna, he says, Arjuna, there are 4 types of devotees that come to me. There are 4 types of devotees that come to me. The first he calls Artha. The second he calls Artharthi. The third he calls Jignasu. The fourth he calls Jnani. Now the first is Artaha. Artaha is somebody who is suffering, somebody who is passing through a painful experience. When I am passing through a painful experience and when I find that doctors and hospitals cannot help me, I turn to God. The very first step that we take towards God is only from a selfish point of view. Then gradually, as we draw closer and closer to God, our inner self also gets cleansed, gets purified. And then we like to go to God again and again. Then we think of Him in joy as in sorrow. In joy and sorrow, my beloved, let thy will always be done. That is the cry that comes out of my heart.
Dada, how do we rise above egoism?
You cannot rise above egoism. You cannot rise above egoism. You may be able to conquer egoism as it would appear to you, but the ego will go and take on a subtle form and disturb you. Therefore, for this, I think you need a guru. The guru will know how to manage your ego. He is a master of management. Today we have so many courses in management, but there is no course in management of the ego. That belongs to the guru.
Dada, why is ignorance compared to darkness?
Because the very word ignorance, the very meaning of the word ignorance is lack of knowledge. What is ignorance? Ignorance is lack of knowledge. And knowledge is light. So if there is lack of light, there is darkness. Is that all right? The word for ignorance in our ancient Sanskrit language is avidya. Avidya. Avidya is darkness.
Dada, with the problems of terrorism and rampant corruption in India, where do you see India 10 years from now?
Humanly speaking, India in that sense appears to be deteriorating. But I think if we look 10 years ahead, this is 2008. In 2018, before that, I believe some forces will wake up and they will take India on the path of evolution. I believe better days are coming. I believe we are at the end of a cycle. And because we are at the end of a cycle, all those accounts are being cleared. That is why we are passing through a period of chaos. Today in India, chaotic forces are on an increase. But that is like settling up accounts. Very soon, in any case before 2018, I believe, we'll have better times. But then you will be there to see that. I may not be with you. I have lived my life.
Dada, could you suggest ways to maintain true friendships and lasting relationships? Dada, how can Vedanta help us in our daily lives?
Vedanta can help you much because once you realize what is the most important principle of Vedanta. The most important principle of Vedanta is, O man, you are not the body that you take yourself to be. You are the soul that inhabits this body. If at every step in every round of life we keep on reminding ourselves of this great truth of Vedanta, our life would change. It was Saint Francis of Assisi. Someday, if I have the time, I'll come and relate to you the wonderful life of this holy man. It was Saint Francis of Assisi who said, the root of all sin is identification with the body. It is because man thinks he is the body. Or there are some who believe that they are the body-mind complex. You are neither the body nor the mind. The body is only a dress which you have to own. The body is only a garment which you have worn. The body is only the house in which you stay. The body is your present address. You have kept on changing these addresses from time to time. This body drops down, you will get into another body. Your address has changed. But you are the same person, dwelling in different bodies, dwelling in different houses. Now, if only we can remind ourselves of this truth all the time, our life will change. Vedanta can help us a lot, provided Vedanta is not merely studied, but Vedanta is lived. Vedanta's emphasis is on life. Current education has failed miserably. Why? Because its emphasis is on words. We are asked to remember certain words. We are asked to remember certain facts and figures. Then at the end of the year or even earlier, there is our examination. We go to the examination hall, we go and vomit out all that we have remembered by heart. And after some time, we completely forget about it. The other day, I was telling my friends that there was a time when I had to interview candidates for the posts of teachers and college and professors in our colleges and schools. And I met with many surprises. I told them a simple question. We wanted a teacher in geography. The candidate was a first class graduate. I put to her a very simple question. I asked her, can you tell me the difference between the light year and the leap year? And she immediately answered, a leap year is a year with 366 days, and a light year is a year with 365 days. And I asked her, I said to her, is the light year a measure of time or of distance? Oh, she said, I'm sorry, it's a measure of distance. It is the distance between the sun and the earth. Now just imagine a first class graduate giving me that answer. Another teacher I interviewed, she was a first class graduate and a second class master's degree. She held a second class science. I put to her a very simple question. I told her, can you tell me the Archimedes principle? What is the Archimedes principle? She began to scratch her head. She said, Archimedes principle, I read about it when I was in the school, but now I've forgotten. Now this is the type of education that we are receiving in our schools and colleges. It's education in words. We need to be educated in life. We are not educated in life. A person commits a crime. Why? Because he has not been taught how to live in the right way. If our students are taught to live in the right way, society would change. The country would change. A person commits a crime, we send him to a jail. There he rots. He goes down the scale of demoralization. Instead of sending him to a jail, send him to a school where he may learn how to live in the right way. But why not send him to such a school first, so that he does not commit any crime at all? Whenever I go to the school, a new school, I visit, I ask the students. I call a student and ask him, what grade are you studying in? What standard are you studying in? And the student answers, I'm in the 3rd standard or in the 4th standard. Then I tell him, do you know in which standard am I studying? The student begins to laugh. And then I tell him, I am still in the kindergarten. I am still in the KG class. Then I explain to him, I tell him, in our school, we are taught how to live in the right way. And the very first lesson that we are taught is, always speak the truth. Always speak the truth. So I tell them, when I was promoted from the KG to the senior KG class, they said, now you have learned to speak the truth always. They sent me to the senior KG class. There, one day I spoke an untruth. And they said, back to the junior KG you must go. I am still in the junior KG. Until I have learned this lesson of speaking the truth, in spite of the worst provocation, I cannot be promoted to the senior KG. But not so. Here you can come to the college, you can go to the postgraduate, you can go to any level and yet speak lies every day. This is the difficulty with our education. Therefore, this education will go. A new age is coming. You must prepare for it. In this new age, there will be new schools, there will be new colleges, there will be new universities. Our professors, they tell lies. The professors will very kindly forgive me, but I was not referring to them, but I was referring to professors in general. And if a person speaks untruth, how can he teach another to speak the truth always? Sadhu Vaswani's hope was in you. He used to say, the woman soul will lead us upward on. He said, man has had his chance. Man has bungled, man has blundered, man has built up a civilization of wars and violence, of hatred and strife. This civilization is already crumbling beneath the burden of its own weight. A new civilization is to be born. Of this new civilization, the woman soul will be the high priestess. Some of you maybe will start a school in which the emphasis will be on living the life, not merely on words. It's so easy to speak words. I remember when I was still a school student, we had attended the lecture of a patriot. In those days, there used to be freedom fighters, and they used to come and give long speeches. One of them spoke so forcefully in favor of Swadeshi. He said, you should be ashamed if you do not purchase things that are manufactured in India by Indians. You must not purchase anything that is manufactured outside India, in England or in other countries. His lecture was so inspiring, I was deeply moved. At the close of the lecture, I went and said to him, congratulations to you. The way you have spoken, your words have penetrated my heart. Then I happened to look at his shoes. The shoes were very bright, polished. You know, there is that leather, what do they call it? There's a type of leather which shines. Huh? Patent leather, yes. So I asked him, I said, your shoes are wonderful. Where did you get them from? He said, these are Dawson shoes. I said, but Dawson shoes means they must be manufactured in England. He said, of course. Then I told him, what did you say only a little while ago? And your shoes are Dawson shoes. Then you know what he told me? He said, we must share work. I do the speaking, you do the doing. But we will not have teachers of that type in the new age. In the new age, we will have teachers who will teach more through example than through precept. The very first lesson that was taught to students in ancient India was Satyam Vadda Krodham Ma Kuru. Satyam Vadda is speak the truth. But the teacher would not give this lesson to the students until first his life had been rooted in truth. Otherwise, he had no right to give this teaching. This was the very first lesson that was taught to every student in ancient India. Satyam Vadda Krodham Ma Kuru. Always speak the truth. Satyam Vadda. Vadda means speak. Satyam, you know, means truth. Krodham means angry. Ma Kuru, never yield to anger. But first, the teacher must be a picture. He must be a picture of the teaching that he wishes to pass on to the students. This was my dream of the Mira College. There was a time when I was a servant here in the Mira College. That was my dream, but somehow or the other, the Mira College has also joined the stream. Any other questions?
Dada, could you suggest ways to maintain true friendships and lasting relationships?
If you want to be true friends, you must always be prepared to give. When I make friends with somebody, I always think of what I will get from my friend. No, I should be prepared to give. There was a poem that I had read, I think, 65 years ago, but the lines clung to my memory. I went out to make a friend, and I did not get one. I went out to get a friend, and I did not get one. I went out to be a friend, and friends were everywhere. I did not find one there yet. I went out to make a friend and did not find one there. I went out to be a friend, and friends were everywhere. I should be prepared to give. Then I will have many friends. We are told, we are given the story of two friends. I forget their names. Do you remember? Diogenes was the king, but the two friends, there was one Anthony and there was another, not Amar, but somebody, else. Dionysius was the king. Then, in those days, the king was a tyrant, and for some reason or the other, he said this Anthony should be hanged. He was given capital punishment. Huh? Mike. This is also not being truthful, if I speak here. Then Anthony wanted to go to a neighboring village where his mother stayed. She said, let me bid goodbye to my mother, because now they'll hang me. Before this happens, let me go and get the blessings of my mother and say goodbye to my mother. The king said, I have no objection, provided there is someone who will take your place in the jail, so that if you do not return at the proper time, we will hang your friend instead. And there was one man, he came forward. He was a true friend of Anthony. He said, I will take your place. And actually he was thrown into jail, and the day arrived when the capital punishment was to be the executioner and everybody, they arrived. But Anthony had not arrived. So this friend very gladly climbed up the platform, the gallows, so that he could get capital punishment instead of his friend. Just then, a cry was heard. Anthony has arrived, Anthony has arrived. And the two friends began discussing with each other, arguing with each other, each being prepared to give his own life for the friend. And the scene, they say, so touched the heart of the tyrant King Dionysius that he forgave them both. Now, such friends it's difficult to get. But you have to be such a friend to get such a friend.
Thank you, Dadaji.